everybody, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is the daily show where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us is your editor-in-chief for AMC Movie News, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the show, coming to you from right here at the AMC Movie News headquarters here in Burbank, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us a part of your day.
Also here is writer-director John Schnepp.
Yeah, I'm super happy to be here as well on Wednesday, Comic Day. It's Comic Book Day.
And AMC's Miss Alicia Malone.
You had to think about that one, Schnepp. What day is it? Wednesday.
Our first look at the marketing for the upcoming Independence Day 2 has hit the web. The good folks over at Collider are in attendance at the annual licensing expo in Las Vegas and saw this new poster. Using recovered alien technology, the nations of Earth have collaborated on an immense defense program to protect the planet. But nothing can prepare us for the aliens' advanced and unprecedented force. Only the ingenuity of a few brave men and women can bring your world back from the brink of extinction. John, what do you think of this Independence Day 2 poster? It's been 20 years. Oh, sorry. Sorry, my notes are a mess right now, and I'm trying to figure it out.
She's so excited about the next story.
It really has just been 20 years since Independence Day.
That was kind of like, John, what do you think of the poster? It doesn't matter what you think. Okay, I'm going.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
All right, so I actually adore this poster because it reminds me a lot. Help me out, Schnepp. What was the name of that movie from the 80s? It's something with the planet.
Do you believe it is called Life Force?
Life Force,
yes.
Thank you. That is the name. It reminds me a lot of that Life Force poster. It looks very daunting and intimidating, yet very clearly when you look at it, you're like, that is an Independence Day poster. Definitely. And I like the sounds of it too. Like, I've always said the reason I'm excited about this movie is because the concept that 20 years ago, and hey, 20 years is a good amount of time, humanity collected all this remnants of alien technology and have had 20 years to kind of reverse engineer it, try to develop. They knew at some point these guys would be back, develop some defensive weaponry for it. I like that. I just think this sounds cool. And for an opening poster, remember, this isn't even an official poster. This is just at the licensing expo. So the official poster may look like this. It may look a little bit different. But for a first impression, I gotta tell you, I really liked it. Anyway, Alicia, what are your impressions?
I like it as well because it's a callback to the first poster, except instead of having the White House, the symbol of power in the US, it's now the whole world.
Yeah.
So it says to me that the stakes have been raised for a sequel, and that's exactly what they need to do. And I like the idea if it takes a look at the whole planet and not just focus on America. Of course, it'll focus on a small story within the larger disaster, but I hope that we get to see some other cities getting destroyed. I mean, in first Independence Day, it was like quick shots at the end, and us in Sydney were like, oh, we escaped pretty well. But yeah, again, this might not be the official poster, but I think it looks cool. I like it.
Not this time. I believe Sydney is getting exploded in the Opera House. Blow up a couple of iconic things from Australia. Yeah, it's funny you said that because I was thinking the same exact thing. I was like, that poster is just Life Force, just skewed. Because the Life Force is a giant eyeball with some kind of electricity and Earth. So, I mean, we're not buying the poster, but I'll buy it. But I'm not going to buy it because it's right there. I could look at it. But I buy the look of the poster as being an imitation of Life Force. But you know what? I'm not 100% sold on Independence Day 2. That's not that I hate on the film or Emmerich or anything like that. It just sounded like just ID4 Forever or whatever it was originally called.
It was such a dumb title.
Horrible title. So at least they changed it to Independence Day 2. I'm slowly warming up to it. And then with a poster like this, I'm like, all right, I'll definitely see the movie now. Yeah. So it's a good poster.
With ID4, I was like, did I miss the other two?
Yeah.
Where was 2 and 3?
Or ID. It's just weird. Independence Day 2. Perfect.
It was going to be ID4 Forever Part 1 and ID4 Forever Part 2. It was just a dumb title. So I'm glad they're just going back to Independence Day 2. All right, now what's next?
All right, so now it's been 20 years since the original Michael Bay Bad Boys film was in theaters, and talks of a possible Bad Boys 3 have been floating around for many of those. Now it appears Sony Pictures is interested in getting the project going. According to reports, the Grey, Smokin' Aces, and the A-Team director Joe Carnahan is in talks to rewrite and direct the project with hopes of fast-tracking it for production after Will Smith is finished his shooting on Suicide Squad. Alicia, what would you think of a Joe Carnahan-directed Bad Boys 3?
Well, I liked Bad Boys 2. I don't necessarily think that they need a Bad Boys 3, but money, and the second one made like $270 million, so it makes sense. I'm glad that they're not going with Michael Bay, that Joe Carnahan, I think he's a great choice. You look at something like Smokin' Aces and it has the same kind of visual style, very oversaturated, some great action scenes. You look, even the A-Team had some good humor. I liked The Grey as well. So I think if they're going to do it again, then he is a great choice.
I am actually a little bit confused as to why Carnahan is not doing more stuff. I mean, I think he's a very gifted filmmaker. He can do fun, he can do exciting, he can do serious. I was a big fan of The Grey. I thought he did a magnificent job on that film with Liam Neeson. And so when you think of something like Bad Boys 3, if you're going to say, if Michael Bay's not going to do it, who's the best guy to do it? I really do think it would be Joe Carnahan. And like, you know, movies aren't always about, a lot of people will often say to me, John, do we really need a sequel to that? And my argument is always, no film in the history of film has ever needed to be made. It's, do people want it? And I think there is an appetite for another Bad Boys film out there. I'm not necessarily that person, but I know there are a lot of people who always talk about wanting to see a Bad Boys 3. And if the desire's there and the audience wants it, and you can get that cast back, and for whatever reason you can't get Michael Bay in there, I think Joe Carnahan is a really great fit for this, and maybe give us the best Bad Boys film we've ever had. So yeah, I quite like this.
Yeah, I think he's definitely an underrated director and writer. I mean, Narc was a fantastic, premiere for him, and he's had a lot of hits and misses as far as just being able to make something. Not misses as far as when he actually gets to make something, but he's developed something, then it goes away. He works on this for a few years, so that's very frustrating when you hear, oh, Joe Carnahan's attached. Oh, the project fell apart. So, hopefully, I saw, all right, well, you're not going to get Michael Bay. Get someone who's a gifted writer-director to take that action franchise and make it good after 20 years. So I think it's a great decision to get him on board.
Speaking of which, I have an idea for your next documentary. Not that you're rushing out to do another documentary.
Can't wait to make another documentary.
The death of Serpico Daredevil that Joe Carnahan was going to do. Do you guys remember that? That
yes.
Right before Fox lost the rights to Daredevil, they had a push to get a new Daredevil made, and it was going to be directed by Joe Carnahan. And it was going to be like a real 70s kind of thriller kind of thing. And they pushed, but they just, at some point, the clock just ran out and they couldn't get it in production in time to meet the contract obligations. So the rights to Daredevil reverted. That would have been a fascinating movie.
He put together a cool sizzle reel. I mean, a lot of these what happened movie ideas are literally worthy of about 20 minutes. I mean, it's not a feature length anything. It's like, hey, they worked on this, they fell apart. You're like, okay. Like you can interview the dude and be like, what happened? It's like, hey, well, I worked on this and it fell apart. Okay. It's credits. It's like, it's not worthy of a full story.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Sinead's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Sinead, what do we got?
Deadline is reporting that Ride Along star Ice Cube and Horrible Bosses star Charlie Day are in talks to star in Fist Fight for New Line. According to the report, Ice Cube plays a teacher who challenges his mild-mannered colleague, played by Day, to an after-school fist fight when he suspects the timid English teacher is trying to get him fired. Schnepp, do you buy or sell the sounds of Fist Fight?
I'll buy it for right now. It sounds interesting. I buy it mainly because of Charlie Day and Ice Cube. I mean, the premise is, but them together could be really funny. So I'll buy it for right now.
I'm also going to buy it for now. I heard somebody this morning criticizing, like, can't Ice Cube play any other type of character? Why do we need him to? He plays this type of character really well. When he does it, I mean, Ice Cube is not, nor will he ever be, a thespian. But he's really good when you put him in certain types of roles. He can be entertaining to watch. This sounds like the type of role that he would play well. Charlie Day, I always enjoy watching Charlie Day. Look, this movie could be a real hot mess. Like, I got to admit, the first impressions I had of it was Get Hard when I saw it, and that didn't really work for me either. But I think there's potential here, and what would be really cool is if it turns out Charlie Day actually ends up being some kind of MMA fighter by night, whatever, like turn it on its head a little bit. But I think there's potential here. So very generously, for now, I'm going to also give it a buy. Alicia?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a buy too for the same reasons, because of Charlie Day and Ice Cube. I don't know what it is about Charlie Day, but he makes me laugh so much. He doesn't have to do anything. I think he's just so hilarious. Ice Cube was fantastic in 22 Jump Street. I mean, the premise doesn't sound that exciting. So good. Premise of this one doesn't sound that exciting. Deadline says it could be along the same tone as that 80s film 3 O'Clock High, where the preppy high school reporter was challenged by the tough guy for a fist fight in the parking lot. So it could be fun. I don't think it's going to be that amazing, but these two together I want to see.
All right, what's next?
The first trailer for the upcoming film Regression, starring Ethan Hawke and Emma Watson, has just hit the web. Set in Minnesota in 1990, Regression follows Detective Bruce Kenner, played by Hawke, as he investigates the case of young Angela, played by Watson, who accuses her father, John Gray, of an unspeakable crime. When John unexpectedly and without recollection admits guilt, renowned psychologist Dr. Raines, played by David Thewlis, is brought in to help him relive his memories, and what they discover unmasks a horrifying nationwide mystery. John, do you buy or sell the trailer for Regression?
Oh my God, I want to buy it so badly because Emma Watson I love. I really like Ethan Hawke. The premise sounds interesting, but I have to sell it. I thought this was a messy, discombobulated trailer that just seemed to be a lot of, let's just flash a lot of images at you. And it also felt like in every single scene that Ethan Hawke is in the trailer, every line is said the same way. I'm going to find the truth. What happened there? Give me names. Like every single one of them was like completely the same, and then more random images. And so it's like, I want to buy it, and I have high hopes for the film, but I thought it was just a mess of a trailer. So for me, it's going to be a sell. Schnepp?
Yeah, I'm going to buy it, but I mean, I agree with you. I think Ethan Hawke, sometimes he's hit and miss, and for me, like his hit for me was Sinister. Even though I wasn't 100% loving the movie, I liked the way he portrayed that.
Yeah, I thought he was great in that.
Yeah, he was incredibly with this. I mean, from a trailer, yeah, a little bombastic, but I mean, I like the premise. So.
Yeah, I buy the look of the movie. I think that the trailer is trying to sell it too much as a horror, and it seems like it's more of a mystery than a horror. I like what Emma Watson is doing with her career. I always enjoy seeing Ethan Hawke on screen. And Alejandro Amenabar, who's the director behind this, I liked The Others. I thought he did really well with that. Of course, he did Open Your Eyes, which became Vanilla Sky in the American remake, but the Spanish version is much better. And The Sea Inside, which won an Oscar for Best Foreign Film. So I think it looks beautifully shot as well. That's what I liked about this trailer.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a trailer that I really don't like, but I have a feeling the movie's going to be really
I think
great.
it's just edited really badly.
Yeah, I agree. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. So, Sinead, what's in the mailbag today?
Jerry writes, you guys do such a great job. I watch you every day. Given your discussion with Entourage and the long delay hurting the movie on Monday, and you've just mentioned Incredibles being one of the most highly anticipated sequels on Tuesday, do you think the long delay will hurt The Incredibles sequel?
Yes, I do think it will hurt The Incredibles sequel, but I don't think it's severe damage. I really don't. See, the difference between something like an Entourage and Incredibles is that Entourage had an audience. It definitely had an audience, but it was I would say, especially age range, it was a very finite audience, right? And so I think you need to really, that just increases the need to strike while the iron's hot. This Entourage is a movie that should have come out a year ago. With The Incredibles, you have a lot of people who watch that movie and adore that movie over multiple generations. You have like people who were kids when they first watched The Incredibles and made that great impression, and now they're like in college, and they're like, I love that. There are people who've been waiting for this sequel for so long, and it's multi-generational as well, that I think that, have they waited too long? Yeah, I believe they waited too long. But the damage of that, I think, is going to be really mitigated by the fact that it's so popular, it's multi-generational, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's going to be that severe. Alicia, what do you think? Do you think the long wait is going to hurt it much?
I don't think so, because The Incredibles is kind of an evergreen idea. I mean, you watch it and it feels like a gentle spoof of a 60s spy film mixed with like 60s comic book heroes. Whereas Entourage is of the moment and very right now. And I liked Entourage. I thought it was fun. I just thought it was a bit of a missed opportunity to lampoon Hollywood even further with what is happening right now with the studio system. Yeah. But I feel like because of that, because Entourage has to be like right now, that's why that delay hurt it more than something like The Incredibles.
Schnepp?
Yeah, the biggest thing is animated characters don't age. So you can literally step out of 20 years out of a door and be like, hey, what's happening? And nothing is different. So, I mean, you have that going for you. And it's also The Incredibles, the first one, obviously with the second ones they're working on, but that's available everywhere. So kids nowadays, right now, can watch it and it's fresh, just like when you watched it 10 years ago, it's fresh. So it doesn't age. Animated films just don't age. So the ability to make a sequel 20 years from then or 10 years later, or another 10 years, or another 10 years, the characters will always, if they wanted to, have the same exact look. I mean, you have to get the voices back. So, that's one thing, but. I don't think it's really going to hurt it. I think, like you said, it's an evergreen because animation has that ability to not age if it doesn't want to.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Jose writes, I have a question. How do you feel about James Cameron commenting about the new Terminator and the fact that he said this is the true third movie? We know that he distanced himself from the last two movies. In your opinion, how do you feel about the movie now? Excited or less nervous that the movie will tank? Thanks, and keep bringing the filthy.
If it looked like, if you saw that video that they're talking about where Cameron kind of endorses the new Terminator film, if it looked like he was sitting a little bit on an angle, it's because of the big wad of cash that the studio put into his back pocket. For him to say this. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's nothing but encouraging. Sure, if Cameron comes out and kind of puts his stamp on it, that's encouraging. But I got to tell you, despite the fact that I have been one of the people who have been saying, I think this one's going to be good. I think this one's going to be good. There have been so many red flags going up right now around this movie that just is kind of screaming that the studio has no faith in this movie. I'm going to give you an example. I just recently talked to somebody who, in our industry, who was invited to go to the premiere of Terminator, but the studio, and it's flying them out of town to go to it, the studio had this big asterisk. We want you to tweet that you're there. We want you to social media that you're there. So they want them to basically promote the movie, but you can't talk about what you thought about the movie. Once you come out of it, you can't talk about it. And now this is different from a normal, embargo. This is different from a normal. Usually once a premiere happens, because there are people who are not in the industry that go to a premiere. Usually once a premiere happens, embargoes are over. And I remember I said to this person, I said, are you absolutely sure they're telling you, tweet about it, Facebook about it, but don't say what your reaction to the movie is? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, to me, that is the biggest red flag that the studio has no faith in this movie. So while it's encouraging that Cameron is saying that, at this point, I am probably of the belief that this movie is going to be awful. So all I can do now is hope that it's good, but I'm seeing flags from the studio saying that they don't even think it's good. So I'm not sure what to think. Anyway, Alicia, what at this point, with all the stuff that's happening, especially with the Cameron comments, what are you now expecting out of Terminator?
Well, it's so funny that you say that because I might be going on that trip. I've been approached to go on that trip, but I haven't been told that embargo.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
I haven't been told anything other than we just want you to tweet and about your experience being there, but I haven't been told, like, don't say anything.
But they said,
maybe that'll
tweet
come.
about your experience being there. Don't tweet your reactions to the movie.
They haven't said anything
Okay,
about the
gotcha.
reactions to the movie. Maybe that will be coming, and then I'll be like, hang on a second. But these comments actually make me, or James Cameron's comments make me more excited for the film because I've seen the trailers and I've just been like, this doesn't look so good. I've been worried about how they're rushing out these three movies. They're making them like back to back and then just churning them out there because the rights to the movies go back to James Cameron in a few years' time. So they're just trying to get them out there before then. But I'm glad that he's on board, so that makes me a little bit more excited.
I'm one of the rare people who I've actually really liked the trailers.
Yeah.
I've found nobody that agrees with me yet, but I like them. Anyway, Shana, what do you think?
Well, we talked about the last trailer. I like the last trailer.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
I like calling it GENISYS just because it's the
Terminator Genisys.
But to be honest with you, I think after hearing James Cameron's thoughts on it, I'm really excited about the film. I think it's going to be a smash hit. I think it's going to be a really good science fiction film because I trust James Cameron. And if he's saying this is the true third film, I'm in full agreement with him because I liked Rise of the Machines and Terminator Salvation. The less said about it, the better. They're valiant attempts to do something with a franchise that was an incredible first film, genre picture, science fiction, horror film. The second one, an amazing sequel, up the ante, put the Terminator on the map. Incredible special effects. And then the other two, not so much. And then, they had the TV series and all that. So they've been trying to keep this Terminator thing alive forever. And, because it's a cool idea. But with Cameron saying this is like my films, and then it takes a swerve and goes crazy, I can't wait for that swerve to happen. I think we were saying, like, everything that we've seen in that trailer probably is the first act.
Yeah, I believe
because
that.
There's so much that we know just from that. Smith from Doctor Who, he's supposed to be in it. He was on an Entertainment Weekly cover a year ago.
That's
he's not
right.
even in any sequence. You don't see him in one shot in any of the trailers. So they are holding back. You're going to see Terminator fighting a dinosaur. I don't know what's going to happen. They're time traveling. It's going to be insanity. So I'm excited for this.
All right,
Cool.
what's next?
Arib writes, my friends and I are planning to see Jurassic World this weekend. Do we need to watch the previous Jurassic Park movies to understand it? Thanks.
Well, now, full disclosure, I have not yet seen Jurassic World. I was invited to go see it on Monday, but it was the same night as the Inside Out world premiere, and I chose Inside Out over the Jurassic World thing. But I'm going to tell you this. I've talked to a number of people. Now, have you seen Jurassic World?
I have.
Okay, let me get to you in a second then. I have talked to a number of people who have seen the film already, several team members here on AMC Movie News, actually. And everybody that I've talked to so far is like, this is a good movie. So that's really encouraging to hear. So let me go over to somebody who can speak more definitively. What did you think about Jurassic World without giving a full review?
I had so much fun watching it.
Awesome.
I thought it delivers exactly what you want out of this kind of movie. I mean, sure, there's like a few little story problems, but it doesn't matter. You just go along for the ride. Great popcorn movie. And this feels like the sequel that we've been waiting for. It's made by Colin Trevorrow, who is a fanboy of the first movie. So I would say that you don't need to see numbers 2 and 3. They don't have anything to do with Jurassic World, but see Jurassic Park, because there's so many Easter eggs and callbacks to the first film that if you've seen the first movie, then you'll really understand it.
So watching the first film will enrich your experience.
Yeah, but you don't have
it's,
to.
Yeah, but it's not a requirement to see to be able to understand what's going on in Jurassic World.
They explain everything.
Snap, what are your expectations for this movie?
I heard James Cameron said you don't have to see the second or third one. You could just listen to the true sequel to Jurassic Park. I can't wait to see this movie. All the trailers have been fun for me, and they've just gotten better and better and better. I love the premise that it's Jurassic World, that it's like a Disneyland with dinosaurs now, that it's a park, everything. They were like, don't do this. And they were like, screw it, we're doing it. So it's like, it's it's going to go bad. It's going to go wrong. And then there's a giant new dinosaur introduced. I'm all for it. I can't wait to see it. So I'm going to see it Thursday.
Actually, let me throw this over to Sinead for a second. Sinead, there are 2 great films coming out right now. Or I'm not going to say great because I haven't seen Jurassic World yet. But we
They're
got
both good.
Inside Out. And that's a great shirt. We got Inside Out and we got Jurassic World coming out. Which one are you looking forward to more?
Oh my God, that's so hard. Honestly, Inside Out looks great, but I think Jurassic World.
Really?
I really
did
do.
not think you were going to say that.
She
I
loves
really
those
do.
dinosaurs.
I am so beyond excited. Like, I was giddy today when I heard you guys talking about Inside Out, because it warms my heart, and I can't wait. But I did watch the preview again last week for Jurassic World at AMC Prime in 3D, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Can I say that all 3 of these movies are fantastic?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Me,
awesome.
Earl, and the Real Girl, too. That's right. And I'm going to see it.
They're all really good.
I'm actually going to see Jurassic World on Thursday at the AMC Disney. I'm going to go there because Ann and I are, by the way, you're not going to see me on the show for the next couple of days because Ann and I, it's our anniversary. And so we're going to go to Disneyland for a couple of days and, have some fun there and see Jurassic World, which I'm super stoked about. All right, folks, that'll do it for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me, sitting over here, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me at Twitter and Instagram, just at John Schnepp, at TDOSLWH, and go to www.tdoslwh.com. You can get the digital download right now. Pre-order it of The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, my documentary. It's available for pre-order right now. Comes out July 9th. Thanks.
And of course, the one and the only Miss Alicia Malone. Alicia, where can people find you?
You can find me on all the social network situations at Alicia Malone and on YouTube, Movies on My Dream.
And of course, our lovely host today, Miss Sinead DeFries. Sinead, where can people find you?
You can find me on all social media as well, and YouTube at Sinead DeFries and at that'ssosinead.com.
And of course, you can find me on all the social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want to find me, just all at John Campia. So that'll do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.